Welcome to episode 136 of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg. I am the founder, not the co-founder. I'm the founder.
Founder.
I'm pretty sure I know who the heck I am.
Who are
Of
you?
College Recruiter job search site. I am most definitely not joined today by my co-host Peter Zollman of the AIM Group. I
You are
am
not.
right. I mean, you guys don't look anything alike, but
No.
Jeanette Leeds is the COO of College
I just
Recruiter.
got a promotion.
Right? You deserve it.
Woo.
Peter is unavailable. He's doing something much more enjoyable than being on a podcast with me. And so, Jeanette, you're stuck with me for the next 12 or 13 minutes.
I
Um,
will take it. Happy to be here.
I thought it'd be really fun to talk with you because of the background that you have. Leading, college and university recruiting for a couple really big organizations, financial services, then going to this little company called Olio, then
Yeah.
going to this other little company, little only in the number of letters in its name, AMS. But for the people in the audience that don't know what Olio is, what AMS is,
Yeah.
maybe tell them a little bit about that, what you did at those organizations, because I think that's going to provide some really good context.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. When I was at Olio, which was a million years ago, another three-letter company, WCN, which we rebranded.
Oh, yeah.
That was, that is not was a company at ATS, but also a CRM and events management platform, but all really focused on campus recruiting, or for those who are over on the other side of the pond, university relations, and all that, and high volume, like, was able to do and still is able to do all sorts of recruiting. But that was really the focus in the niche, like high volume. How can you do things in bulk in a really systematic way versus what I call like a regular ATS? And so ran that, was the first one in the US, expanded out that whole business. I don't know, all of that, which is great. And after nine years and growing revenue to 40%, I was like, oh, what am I going to do next? So then I was at AMS, running the high volume RPO in Americas, that whole play, but also the hourly tech product, which is all about conversational AI and how do you quickly capture candidates in a conversational way, typically on text, mobile, and then get them in combining in people, process, tech, but from the RPO side. So I've sort of been on all sides of the coin, whether it's first as a practitioner on Wall Street, campus recruiting, again, bulk, high volume. Let me hire like 4 or 5,000 people, in one year. To then the tech side, again, doing that. Then let's do RPO and combine it all together. And well, now I'm here. So,
And AMS is the biggest recruitment process outsourcing organization in the world.
yeah.
And so people who know me at all know that I've been in sort of the employment space now for a long time. So we launched the very first version of College Recruiter 30 years ago in 1996.
Wow.
It was 2 years before Google. It was right when Yahoo was launching. The internet was completely wild west. It was so different.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think was pretty true in that era is there were ATS at
Hmm.
the time, like what was it called? Like Recruit Soft or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh my God. Yes.
And some of them ended up kind of like changing names, merging,
Yes.
rebranding, but if you kind of trace it back
Recruit Max is
yes,
what it
thank
was.
you,
Yes.
that's exact
Yes.
and so there were a very small number of employers back in 1996 that even had websites, that even
Yeah.
had a career site.
Yeah.
Having an ATS for a lot of large employers was their way of getting a career site, like
Yeah.
that there wasn't a way of, like, going to a company's site,
Yeah. That
searching for
didn't
jobs, and
exist.
applying for it, right. I remember back then, as they would say, back in the day, ATS did not play nicely with job boards. The ATS saw job boards as being competitors, and I think the thinking was probably candidates should just go straight to the employer website. They shouldn't stop on a job board. They should find us on Yahoo or Google or Lycos or Alta Vista.
Oh my
I'm definitely
gosh.
dating myself.
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. Loved to ask Jeeves. I mean, who couldn't use a butler? But before we get to the RPO piece, let's talk about the
Yeah.
ATS piece. Because of, let's call it, that baggage, which maybe I
Yeah.
need therapy to get over, I kind of still have this feeling that the ATS used to, I don't think today, but they used to view job boards as competitors. And I don't know if you agree with, I think let's separate out what they used to from today.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think used to for sure. I mean, I remember, years ago, right, being like, oh my God, we have to integrate with job boards. Again, this was before Elliot, when it was still WCN and whatnot. And that was
Yeah.
going back into the early 2000s again. So I'll date myself there. But what I think has been interesting just is like, I feel like we're doing a history lesson of like the evolution is then it started, at some point, I forget what year it is, like the CRM,
Yeah.
became like, okay, that's going to be the overlay, or that's going to be sort of that candidate experience because the ATS experience isn't that great. And so then that I feel like there was more of that competitive piece happening with like CRMs and job boards versus the ATSs because it was sort of like very two different budgets in many ways. Where it was like one, it's like you need an ATS to track your right, applicant tracking system,
Hmm.
and so that's different than okay, how do I source and get the candidates? So it was a very like separation, and so then the CRM was like sort of more of an attraction layer. Again, I'm going back a billion years, and so I feel like there was more of that like headbutting. Now, I mean, to me, now looking at it, like, I don't know if anyone's really thinking or talking about it in this way, but like in some ways, you could say a job board does compete with an ATS
Mm.
just from the standpoint of an ATS. And I would say also for CRM, like organizations have so many candidates like in their ATS or their CRM, right? Like hundreds, thousands, depending on how big they are. Now, the data may or may not be stale, but like what a lot of organizations will do is are starting to do, and if you're not doing this, you should definitely do this. Obviously, working at like jobs, but it's like you have a job
Yeah.
who's in your already in your system that you can like reach out to, right?
Yeah.
Versus going out to net new. So there's still always going to be a time and a place to go out for net new. And especially if you're doing entry level, early career, right? Your candidates in your pool are going to age out or get more experience and they're not going to be appropriate for the roles that you're recruiting for. So to me, there's like this ecosystem and imbalance of like, what are you trying to do? Right? Like everyone can be friends in this ecosystem,
That's what you
but we
ask
can
me all
also
the
be,
time. What are
like,
you
what
trying
are
to
we trying
do?
to do here? So so in
Yeah.
some cases, I think, it's certainly competitive and, there's a tension of like we're competing for the same dollars, but in many cases that's not. Everyone could be frenemies.
Hello, I'm Ruth Thomas, host of Comp and Coffee, where we break down what's next in the world of compensation management. From pay transparency to performance alignment, we explore how businesses are rethinking compensation to drive impact, equity, and growth. So if you're shaping the future of pay at your organization, grab a cup and tune in. Listen on the Work Defined Podcast Network.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you and I are on the same page here. We used to be more foe and now we're
Yes.
more friend.
Yes.
Like when we're working with the ATS now, first of all, they answer the phones,
Yeah.
they return our
Well,
emails,
I was like, who's on
and
phones? I mean, I think it's
yeah,
more
well,
the
what
Slack
a
messages, text,
right. But it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the orientation is how can we work together?
Yes,
Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't,
for
but
sure.
it's not like they've slammed the door and double padlocked it
No,
like they
no.
did 20 years ago.
Yeah,
And I think that's good for everybody.
absolutely.
Job boards, ATS, I think mostly work together pretty well with the mindset of we have a common client and common
Absolutely.
interests.
Absolutely.
And if we can all play nicely
Yeah.
together, rising tide lifts all ships.
Abso and
I
yeah.
don't think I can throw another analogy
Yeah,
into this thought.
exactly. And the fact of the matter is with shared customers, like the customer is right, right? If there's a shared customer and they're like, hey, we want to be able to, connect this job board, right? Or get, and listen, you don't even need to connect in many ways, right? Because there's just like so many simpler ways to get things done from a
Yeah,
tech standpoint, right? Versus years ago, it was like heavy lifting from that standpoint. But it's like, what can we all do together collectively to make a great candidate experience and to ultimately for that employer to be able to hire great candidates and from an ATS perspective or a job board like we're all trying to do the same thing, right, is
yeah,
to help connect candidates to employers and everyone can get great jobs and live happily ever after, right, like and let's smooth it and then if that happens then Well, from a financial standpoint, we all make money.
So
Like,
speaking of making money by helping candidates find great jobs, let's talk about
yes,
RPOs. Okay,
yes,
that's kind of the business model,
yes,
right?
that is.
It's like, right, we help you get hires, you pay us more.
Yeah,
And obviously the financials, the commercials, as our friends in Europe would say, that varies,
yeah,
deal to deal. But
yeah,
so now put your AMS hat on,
yes. RPO
the
hat on.
RPOs.
Yeah.
My thinking there is that they are gonna be much more like their talent acquisition friends,
Mm.
where there are gonna be times where they're gonna wanna use job boards, times where they're not gonna wanna use job boards. The product might be right, the product might be wrong, but it's not an adversarial relationship.
No, no, not I mean, not at all. And, what's interesting is I've seen the RPO side from AMS, like literally at
Yeah.
an RPO, but also at Olio, a number of clients were also
Oh,
RPOs. So I've seen it also from like the tech side, like pure, like as well. So again, from that standpoint, if there's like definitely friends, job boards, RPOs, because if there's a easier way to get the candidates into the pool, right? That's going to make the RPO like more efficient, more effective, lower cost, right? If they can deliver the same result for, lower cost, like that's even better. And if you can do it quickly and efficiently, again, it's like I shouldn't say most, a lot. I don't want to say all but
yeah,
the customers of an RPO, the employers, they're basically, outsourcing it. So they're like, okay, deliver it. Obviously, there'll be some guardrails around it on how, the hires happen. But if you can have that great quality candidate, get them hired, hitting the SLAs, how you do it is for the most part, I don't want to say all of it, with some exceptions, like they're happy for that. So the job boards and RPOs are aligned. Um, there's no foe.
so before we leave off, I
Yeah.
wanna dig into what you just said, and you kinda, like, had your eyes going up, I think, to the right, and it's like,
Okay.
"For the most part."
For the most part.
So,
Yeah.
I have heard a few times, not a lot, but I
Yeah.
wonder how much if I'm just sort of hearing the tip of the iceberg or if I'm just actually seeing an ice cube floating in the ocean.
Mm.
I've heard executive recruiters, headhunters, people at RPOs essentially say, unless they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into finding these candidates for their employer clients, the employer clients will say they're not delivering a lot of value add. If we don't show how hard it is, if we don't work really hard at this, the employer is going to say, well, that's not hard. We shouldn't be paying you as much. Maybe we shouldn't be paying you at all. Is there any truth to that?
I mean, there is a touch of truth, but at the same time, I think if you're at an RPO and you have to show your value, right? Like someone is paying you and they're paying you like with a margin on top of it, right? It's not like a straight cost because everyone has to make a little bit of money, right? So, what are you bringing to the table? So, to me, that's where I think RPOs can really shine. And you add on a bit of that like strategic advisory, right? It's not like working harder. To me, it's working smarter, right? So, it's like, yes, symptomatically, oh, if we could do it ourselves, but like you can. And so by having a streamlined process or saying, "Hey, we're doing this because we've seen this work really well," and you're bringing that expertise, like, to me, that's what an employer pays for with an RPO, and they don't have to worry about it, right? So it's less about like, "Oh, we could just do it ourselves," but what is that RPO bringing beyond, "Oh, we're just listening to a job?" Because we all know it's more. So
Yeah.
I think it becomes much more nuanced and complex. You can't just have, gone are the days of the transactional type of I mean, I believe this to this day. Like, you can't just have transactions. There has to be that little bit more strategic conversations happening, for the really good partnerships on the RPO side.
Well, sounds like we're all friends.
We're all
We're
friends.
going to sit around the campfire. We're going to get some graham crackers, marshmallows,
Yes.
and chocolate. We're going to make s'mores. And
I love it.
anybody in the audience that doesn't know what a s'more is, you are dead to me.
Oh, just look
So
it up. Great.
exactly.
Summertime.
Exactly. Well, Jeanette, this was enlightening and,
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
yeah, and I guess I need to sort of adjust my thinking.
Yes.
Maybe you save some therapy?
Yeah. Everyone's friends. It's fine.
Yeah, no, and
Get
truly, I mean,
along. So,
if I
yeah.
was just kinda coming into the space now on the HR side, ATS, RPO, job board, whatever, it is a lot more collaborative now.
It
It
is.
really is, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Well, until next time,
Good stuff.
thank you for joining
Awesome.
the
Thanks for
Inside Job
having
Boards
me.
podcast.
Thanks for having me. Take care, everyone.